first thing you'd expect to inspire feminism in a white, Jewish, middle-class, Canadian woman. And yet, as I began my studies of feminist thinkers and movements, all I could think about was how hip-hop culture, particularly the elements of b-girling, embodied the ideas of a struggle for equality that I was learning about in feminism. Hip-hop is a culture born out of Black and Latino youth subcultures that was inspired by the civil rights movement and that has, in my opinion, moved beyond issues of oppression, race, class, nationality, and religion to become one of the most influential cultural forces in the world today. Female rappers introduced me to a view of sexuality I was simply not getting from mainstream pop culture, nor from education, family, or friends. Growing up in suburbia, I believed you either completely denied your sexuality and conformed to the script of a good girl, or you were essentially a slut. And the first time I really began to question this was when I took an interest in underground female MCs in my early teens, and I heard MC Light's rap featuring Positive K. I'm not having it. I'll play a clip of that for you now. Okay, well, I mean, I can tell you pretty much what goes on in this song. I can try. I'm going to try. So in the song, the hook of the song is a conversation between MC Light and Positive K, in which he's saying, "Excuse me, miss," and she's repetitively repeating, "No, I'm not having it. Excuse me, miss? No, I'm not having it. There's just a few things I'm simply not having." But it's not the rejection of the advances that made this song so powerful for me, but rather the content of the verses, in which Light asserts, "If I see something I want, I just go out and get it." She demanded a certain level of respect from her partner. There's just a few things I'm simply not having. Of course, there are examples of women in hip-hop who perpetuate stereotypes of Black women as materialistic and sexualized. Bell Hooks describes the over-sexualization of these women as part of a process she labels the colonization of rap, in which the capitalist systems of production brings mainly stereotypical images of the Black female body into the mainstream audience, not reflecting hip-hop culture historically, but rather the desires of that mainstream audience. Hip-hop culture is a male-dominated world. Whether you're looking at the over-representation of male MCs in the mainstream, or the disproportion of men in b-boy, b-girl culture, women who navigate in the world of hip-hop undeniably have to deal with the politics of a male-dominated sphere, in which they are often marginalized or belittled. I argue that not despite, but rather partially due to this fact, women in hip-hop are so powerful. They represent the power of equality to exist in spaces where they are not stereotypically expected, like the women who first entered the public sphere of business in the 1960s. The women who participate in hip-hop culture struggle to create a strong, feminine identity in a culture that often objectifies them. Some feminists, such as Ariana Bird, allege that the shock has worn off around female MCs who assert their sexual agency through their lyrics, and that what is left is the confirmation of something that many men of all races and quite a few non-Black women always suspected: Black women are whores. In my opinion, what makes hip-hop powerful is that it is a movement based on counter-oppressive ideology and practice that continues to exist within the culture even through its commercialization. Women rappers, DJs, rap artists, and B-girls have learned how to use the tools of hip-hop culture, such as sampling, to struggle for equality with their male counterparts. A much-discussed example of a woman who uses her sexuality often in her lyrics is Lil Kim. I still think that the best response to Dr. Dre's misogynistic 1992 hit, Bitches Ain't Shit, which lyrics you can see up on the right there, is Lil Kim's fabulous excerpt from Suck My Dick, her 2002 track, where she uses the hip-hop tactic of sampling to make a comment about the men who try to control her, while embodying her own sexual desires. The use of sampling as a challenge to misogyny in female diss songs is significant. The importance of sampling goes beyond rappers. B-girl culture relies on taking basic movements of a dance dominated by males and reinventing it to suit a female body. Women struggle to express their views in the male-dominated sphere of hip-hop for the same reasons they struggle to express their views in other elements of politics and culture. Sometimes their stories are simply not being included in the history. Hip-hop culture relies on respect for its roots and the transmission of knowledge through oral expression. In her discussion on B-girls, Dr. Carlson points out that in hip-hop, women are the agents of cultural transmission, as in other community-based activities. And, as in other activities, women's roles are often devalued or brushed aside as unimportant. But they're not. So here's my oral history. This is how I came to realize the feminist potential of B-girls. In Vancouver, my hometown in Canada, I was the member of a pre-professional dance company, Soldiers, run by an incredible female street dancer, Kim Sato. My first year in the company was also the first year that b-boying and girling was added to the syllabus. And the first few months of trying to be a B-girl were, well, to put it bluntly, torture. My weighted hips and weaker upper body put me at a huge disadvantage. I mean, I had these two male b-boy instructors who were just crazy. They could do incredible things with their bodies. And then my female peers also had this amazing flexibility that gave them all sorts of advantages, which I do not have. So, after months of struggling, I finally worked up the guts to talk to one of my role models in my years of hip-hop training, Natasha Gori. She asked to see my 6-step. I nervously complied. Not as nervous as I am now, but I was nervous then too. She stopped me almost immediately. Your hips are too low. Sorry for those of you in the back. Your hips are too low. You gotta work more to lift them. Use your legs and your core, not your arms. Girls are different. Of course. Use your legs and your core, not your arms. Steady improvement. I needed a woman to understand the strengths versus the restrictions of my body. To realize I'd been doing it wrong all along. My second year in Soldiers, the company brought in teachers for new teachers for almost every style of street dance we learned. One of which was the addition of JK47 to our faculty. I really hope this video works because it's really cool. It's just her dancing, but she's really incredible. It's working, sort of. It's really slow motion. That's okay. Slow motion dancing is fine. JK was the first woman who made me truly believe that the physical limitations we place on women are simply not real. She identified as a power mom, which is a b-boy, b-girl cultural term for a dancer that utilizes very physically difficult tricks. Her capacity to perform power moves was strongly linked to her success as a breakdancer. First rule of JK's class was that the word can't wasn't allowed. You can say can't, but really, you just don't want to. I remember her saying in the first class. A statement that reminded me of feminists of the second wave, fighting for equal pay, based on the recognition that they were equally capable. For JK, the main advantage of being a woman in hip-hop culture was the bond she shared with other women. In an interview I conducted with her, she commented on her love for teaching, drawing from the way she can help women in many ways that men can't. This was reminiscent of my experience with Natasha Gori. Seeing JK and other women enter stage battles in Vancouver over the past few years awakened a similar part of my consciousness that was awakened when I first heard MC like rap. If I see something I want, I just go out and get it. Women may be different from men, but they are not weaker. They are no less intelligent, no less important, no less sexual, nor less creative. The fact remains that our individual differences are much more dramatic than our gender. What it boils down to is, as JK put it in our interview, I do believe we are all equal, male or female, but at the same time, we are still very different. I am a B-girl, a female artist, and I am a unique individual, as anyone else is. There is no one who looks, thinks, and does things exactly the way I do, and there never will be. It's just a fact. The feminist potential
teaches us not only to fight against oppression, but also the importance of self-worth